organized by Quality Techies. So how has been your day? How are you enjoying the weekend? That was Sunday service today. Hope you're all good. So yesterday, we started the class for the week 1. We were able to cover Cypress fundamentals, web automation, and we were able to successfully install Cypress. What we installed yesterday is the latest Cypress, which has a new feature called Studio AI. So in the course of our training today, we are going to be downgrading to another version. So there's a feature on Cypress called Cypress Selector. So currently is not available on the latest version of Cypress. So it's just like you learning how to drive. There is automatic and there is manual. So before you get to drive automatic vehicle, it's good that you are grounded on how to drive manual. I mean how to drive a vehicle that is manual. So that's the reason why we'll be downgrading. So I have someone that will be taking the class today. He's the founder of Walpet Solution. So I'll say you are very lucky to have him on this call to take this training because he has always had a busy schedule. And let me just reference this, that most times he only takes paid training on Cypress, on Selenium. So to be able to bring him here, as in it's a real success. So I think there's an echo from someone end. Can you mute, please? Okay, so through my research, the latest fee for Cypress training, I mean the least paid fee for Cypress at the moment is between 300,000 to 500,000. So for Quality Techies to offer this training free, I really want us to make very good use of this opportunity. So just make sure you take this training with all seriousness and be dedicated to every assessment that is given during the course of this training. So Mr. Wale, I don't know if you are ready for us. Hello? All right, I can't see him. Hello? Can
Hello,
you
hi.
All right, all right. Okay. Please let's just make welcome Mr. Wale for today's training. You can drop your emojis to make him welcome. Thank you. Please, you have the floor. You can share your screen. You should have the slide. I think I sent it earlier. So please go ahead and share your screen. Please, it's an interactive class. You could unmute and if you have any comment. All right. I'll stop sharing my screen right now.
I don't know. I don't have the permission to share screen.
Can you confirm now? You should be able to share your screen now.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Please, you have the floor.
All right. Welcome. My name is Wale, and yeah, I've had extensive experience writing test cases and testing applications, both mobile, desktop applications, web applications, and I've been doing this for some time. I do have a training course on test automation, on different tools, Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, also performance testing too. But this is not this is not the reason why we're here today, right? So um, I've been told that you've been taking through some of what I'm about to, go through today. So please just bear with me. We'll be flying. And one thing I always tell people is that when you go through a training, it's not that training that makes you. It's what you do with that training that makes all the difference. The skill that you have is not as a result of a day or 2 days or even 2 weeks training. It is how much effort you put into it by yourself after the training is done, right? So I'm going to be sharing with you some of the techniques that I use to find information on the internet and to learn new skills, which I think is way more important than having the skill itself. All right, so welcome once again. All right, so I'll go through the slide with you, and we'll be doing some hands-on. I believe that everybody here must have a code editor installed on their computer, be it Atom, Sublime, VS Code, or IntelliJ. Anyone will be fine with what we're about to do here today. This is just fundamentals, and it's just the basic things that you need. And if you have the time, keep practicing, and that's the only way that you can get strong in this field, right? So we talk about technology automation. All of them ride on at least a single all of them ride on a programming language. All right, so be it JavaScript, Java, Python, Rust, Ruby, any language that you might think about. These frameworks, they're right on top of it. So that is how the framework knows what to do or how it wants to run those tests. In this case, we're talking about Cypress. Cypress makes use of JavaScript, TypeScript. Okay. For today, we'll be talking about JavaScript. And I would like us to start from that place, from the programming language itself. We may not go as deep as, as deep as we should, but at least you'll get all the basic fundamentals that you need to move on. All right. So, one sec. All right. So what is Cypress? The basic thing that you need to know about this framework is something that you can find on their official website, and that is Cypress.io. Okay.
Really?
Cypress.io. So I often tell people that all of these framework, that big things that people say, they just tell you that we are using Playwright now, we are using Selenium with this AI thing and everything. They keep talking about stuff like that, but just know that the basic thing that they want to do is to package all their tests and hand it over to an automation tool that will run it for them when they are not able to, or to make it faster. So if you have, say, like 3,000 test cases for your application, and it's needed for you to run regression tests on them, you can delegate it to an automation framework, which would do that for you in a fraction of time. If you are going to do it by yourself, it might take you a week or two to go through all those test cases. But if you have an automation tool, you can run through it within 30 minutes, and you get your results, know where the application is failing, know what to do after that. But what I'm trying to say here is that most of the information that you need, that you want to get, they actually you can actually find them on the official website of this what's it called, tool. And it's not different for Cypress. If you need anything, go to Cypress.io and navigate to the doc section, and you can see whatever you want to see. In fact, Cypress has a dedicated section for video training on the tool. I'm going to show you. If you click on Learn Cypress, you can schedule your learning, start learning, and then it would show you some videos and all of these things that you can make use of. All right, so it is as simple as that. But I'm going to go back to where we'll first start. I understand that the introduction to this framework has been done already, and that's the reason why I'm not going over it. The reason I'm not going over the capability of Cypress and how you can make use of it, how you can make use of it to your advantage. All right, so I'm just going to go straight ahead to it. But first, I want to believe that everybody have a code editor on their computer, and we'll be using that. We'll first go through simple basics of JavaScript. All right. But for you to do that, you need to do something. First off, you can check if you have Node installed first. You should have it installed already. If you don't, you can go to the official website and have it installed there. And I'm sure that this has already been covered also. After you've done this, you need to um, create a folder on your computer where you want to be saving this project or the work that you're about to do. It is important so that you know where everything is because it's good to be organized. A lot of people have a lot of things flying around on their computers, and when you need to look for each one of them, you should be able to just get to it without any problem. Right now, what I'm doing right now is creating a folder inside my document folder that is going to that is where I'm going to save the that's where I'm going to save the project. Okay. Okay. One sec. All right. I have created that folder and I'm going to navigate there from here. You can either click on File if you're using VS Code, which is the most popular one that most people would use. I can either click on File and do Open Folder, okay, or let's just do that. There are other ways that you can navigate there. So I'm going to click on open folder. It's going to bring up this dialog. What I want to do is to navigate to where the folder that I've created for this already. Okay. Doesn't seem to be here. Okay. All right. So I have a folder called Cypress. I'm going to open it. It's an empty folder. All right. Here we are. So this is what we have. What you want to do is to initiate this project as a node project, which
Mr. Wale, you're breaking. Mr. Wale, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Hello, just a minute. His network got disconnected. He's joining us soon.
Hey guys, sorry about that. Yeah. So I'm going to go inside here and I'm going to initiate this project as a JavaScript project.
Can you
Okay.
please share your screen?
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, please, thank you.
All right. What I've done here is just npm init -y, meaning that I'm saying yes to all the options that is going to present to me. I'm also aware that this has been covered before now. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is to install Cypress. Okay, and this is going to generate some files inside the node modules folder. And to do that, you run an npm package command, npm install Cypress. Okay, you can save it as a dev dependency or not, it will still work either way. Okay. All right, while this is going on, I'll switch over to the JavaScript part that I mentioned. So on your new project here, you can create a new JavaScript file easily, either by right-clicking the file space and click on new file, or you can click on this thing right here, this icon right here to create a new file. Or if you're like me that likes putting everything on, running commands for everything, you can, of course, create this. If you're using a Linux-based command line, you can use touch. So I'm going to call the name of the file sample.js. It doesn't matter the name. You can give it your own name. This is the name, and the file extension is .js. If you want it as a TypeScript, if you put .ts here, it will also work as a TypeScript file. So I'm going to press enter, and you see this appear here. All right, so I can open this, and here it is, JavaScript file. Okay, and let's start talking about JavaScript very quickly. First of all, the first thing you need to know about any programming language is variables. They are variables. How do you store things inside your programming language? Because imagine if you have a variable that you're using, you don't want to be calling that variable every time. You want to save it in a space where you can call upon it anytime you want. And in JavaScript, there are two ways that you can create variables: the let keyword and the const keyword. Let is just let, like when you're saying let your baby's name to be Victory. All right, and const means constant. There's a key difference between the two. And before this one, before let and where is that? Before we got to the let and the const, there's an earlier version. There are earlier versions of JavaScript because JavaScript, as it is, its real name is not JavaScript, it's ECMAScript. It's because when it was formed, when it came to being, Java was invoked then, so they decided to name it after Java so that it can gain a good population. Popularity. Sorry about that. And it did actually. It worked, but it is not JavaScript. It's ECMAScript. Now there are earlier versions: ES 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 before we then get to ES6. Okay, ES6 is also called it came to be in 2015 actually, and there's a significant change that came into it, and one of the significant changes that we're no longer declaring variable using the var keyword. It is now let and const. A key difference between let and const and var is that these two, let and const, are block scoped. We'll get into that very soon. Meaning that when you declare them inside a code block, you can only access them inside that code block. Whereas for var, you can declare a var inside a code block and still be able to access it outside of it. That could cause a lot of problems at runtime when you are running your code. So let me just pull this up and go into it. Now, there are different kind of data, data types in JavaScript. And I will start with that so that I can use it to declare those data types. I use the keyword let and const to declare those data types. There are primitive data types and there are non-primitive data types. Primitive data types are data types that come out of box with JavaScript. Okay. All right. So they're basically that JavaScript primitive type. It represents a single data type, data that is immutable, that cannot change. All right, and it's not an object. It is not a method or property. All right. So an example of primitive data type is a number. A number. When you're declaring numbers like 2, 3, 4, or any kind of number is primitive. Okay. And Boolean also primitive. String is primitive. I'm going to go into that now. So if, for instance, now in your program, you decide to, save your name, you can do it with a let. Let's say let my name equals, but for a string, the way you do it is to wrap it around quotes. So things like this, and I can say my name is Olawale. The way this is done is, the way this happens is that I have saved. Just take it as if you have a box that you are saving things into. And the box, the name of that box is my name. And the content is this Olawale here. So the next time I print out the content of my name is going to print out Olawale. So to print out anything in JavaScript, you use console.log. Okay. And inside of it, I can say I'm printing out my name. All right. If you want to run a single file so that you can see what is going on within it, you use Node to do that. I'm sure you have installed Node already, so you can call Node. And then the next thing I want to put here is the location, the relative location of the file. You can easily get that in VS Code by right-clicking on that file that you want to run and then do copy relative path. Once you do that, you can paste it here and then run it. And down here, you will see that Olawale is getting printed and not my name. So that is how you can declare a variable. You use the word let or const. One sec, please. All right, so that's how you can run a single file, and this is how you can declare a variable. Right, so once you do this, you have my name as the variable. Now I'm going to demonstrate the difference between let and const here. Now, if I decide to change the content of my name, I can do that. I can re-declare it, sort of. So I can say my name now equals Victor. Okay, so if I print out, I declared it as Olawale here. I change the content to Victor here. If I print out the content of my name here, it should print out Victor for me. And I'm going to do that here. And you see now that is coming out as Victor. Right. If I should change the keyword here from let to const, that is, this is a constant. Naturally, what it means is that the content, once declared, cannot be changed. But here on line 3, I've tried to change it. If I should run this again, it should give me an error. All right, and it did. It's saying that the error is assignment to constant variable. It's a constant variable. I should not reassign it. Okay, so this is perfect for when you have a variable within your program that you don't want to change. So this can happen, the change can happen for a variety of reasons. The one that comes to my mind right now, and is the only one I'll talk about, is when you are working with other developers or other testers, and maybe product of your code, what you have written, is going to be used by some other persons to also accomplish their own tasks. If that is the case, and you have a variable name that you have declared within your program that is being used within your own code, if someone else should go ahead and use that same variable name in their own program, and you have declared it with a let, it's going to cause a problem because your own is expecting maybe a string. Maybe the other person that is working after you, declared his own as a what's it called, as a number. So it's going to cause your own part of the code to break in the future or whenever this is being run. But if you have already do it as a constant, once that person changes the name or uses the same name, sorry, it's going to give this kind of error, letting that person knows that this name has already been used and it's you cannot reassign it. All right, so I'm going to stop from there. This is how you can declare a string. You can declare a number by doing something like const my number equals to whatever number it is, you know, and that is, you have declared this number. And also, this should not be something that I have to explain over and over again, because this is how you can do number the same way you did string. On line 7 here, I'm going to do a concatenation. Concatenation means that I want to print something out, or I want to mix things together. I want to mix different data types together. And the way I can do that is to use the plus sign. So I can say from here, because I want to print out some strings, so I can say, put a string here and say, my name is, and you can see that this my name has a red. That's the concatenation sign I was. And then put another string here and say, and my favorite number is, then I'm going to put a plus sign here and add my number. So if I run this, I'm going to comment this out. To me, my name is this, and my favorite number is this. And you can see the reason why this and this got joined together is because there's no space in between here. Okay, so that is concatenation. Probably you want to print something out on the console, maybe while your code is running, just to be sure that you are doing the right thing that you're supposed to do. You can use this. And if, for instance, you are taking 2 different data or 3 different data from different sources and combining it together, then use it in your program, you can also use this to do that. All right, so there are subsets. You have floats, you have double, you have big integers. That's big int. So float and double. They are numbers that have points. Okay, so they should change this to maybe 8 point something. Then it becomes a double or a float. The major difference between a float and a double is really the size. If it is more than 32 bits, and I think that should be a float. All right, so that is that. And then we have Boolean. Is that type Boolean? So if I declare something that const sun up, and I say equals true, meaning the sun is up. I'm just making this up. This is a constant. This is a name. You can make it anything you want. This is true. Okay. I'm just saying that the sun is up. True. Okay. If I want to check the type of the data, I can simply just do something. I can console.log, for instance, and I can say the data type of sun up is, and then don't forget the plus. I can use something called type of. All right, and I can do sun up. So this will print out the type of this data. Because for JavaScript, even though you are using const or let, you are not declaring the type. You are not saying that this type should be a Boolean. It is implied, and that is the way JavaScript works. When you assign a value to your variable, that is when the type of that variable is implied. All right, for some typed language like Java, for instance, you would have to state the type of that data at the point of declaring it. Okay, so if I should run this again, you will see that it would then say that the type is Boolean. So the data type of SunUp is Boolean. All right. Moving on. There are other types like objects, like arrays, and then we have date objects. Date objects are usually date. Correct. So an object is like a I'm looking for that right word, but it's like a combination of different things, different data, not different really, it's most likely same type of data for a particular thing. So let's say, for instance, now you as a person, you will have a first name, you will have a last name, you will have some characteristics with you. Maybe you are light complexioned, your age, and all of those things. Instead of declaring it one after the other, you can have it as an object. And I'm going to demonstrate that here. So I can say const person, for instance, equals the object. If you want to do objects, you do curly braces like this. And then you can start typing what you want as a key value object. So the key is now is your first name. First name. And then you do a colon and then state what the first name is. So I can say first name is this, all right? And then separate by comma, you can go to the next data. And you can say last name S, right? Right, and then separate by comma, you can put something like age, and you can do this as a 24, for instance. So when you console log this person now, it's going to spit out all of this detail about that person. And I'm going to do that also here. All right, so you see, it comes out as an object. So you can have multiple data about about the same thing as a collection. Yeah, that was what I was looking for before. So here, I can also decide to print out only maybe first name or something. And to do that, you just have to do person dot, and then you do first name. If I should run this now, it will then print out the first name only for me. Likewise, you can decide to print out all of this. So sometimes when you're working with data, you can be getting objects like this. And inside of it, maybe you want to use only the first name. So you can get the first name out as such. All right, so this is it. This is an object. There are other ways. There are one other way that we'll talk about later that you can, if time permits, that you can use to create an object, which would be a class. But let's pen that for now. There is also array. Okay. Array is an indexed collection of data. Instead of it having key, value, pair like this, it doesn't. It just have a value, and you can only reference to that value by the index of that value. Index meaning it has a number attached to it, and it starts from 0. So the first item in that array will be 0. Next one will be 1, and going on like that. So I can say, let's say, const cars can be equals to, if you want to declare an array, you will use a square bracket like this. And I can say, can I be Toyota, Volvo, you can have a Honda. It's just collection of data. So if I print this out, it's still going to show me the array, the arrays of the cars that are inside the, of course, the cars are inside the array. And I'm going to do that here. As you can see this. And I did mention that they are indexed. So if you want to reference to only Toyota here, it's on the 0 space. Volvo is 1. Honda is 2. So if I want to take maybe the Volvo, I want to print out Volvo only, I can do that by putting a square bracket here, right? And then putting the index there, which is 1, right? Because this is Toyota is 0, Volvo is 1. And if I run this again, you will see that only Volvo is getting printed out. All right, so that is a small introduction into some of these variable types. There are 3 other ones, but I wouldn't worry about it for now. They are undefined, null, and symbol. Okay, so I will just peg it there, and sorry, I didn't care. How many minutes do I have left? So I can know how to adjust my trajectory.
And you still have more than 1 hour more.
Okay, all right.
Today's class is 60 minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we've talked about type of. So let's do more examples. If I do type of, sorry, also the log, and I do type of cars, let's see what that will bring out for us. You see, it comes out as an object, even though we know that it's an array. All right, so in JavaScript, objects and objects, array is an array object. So I just did this so that if, for instance, now you are running some things and you want to do type of, and then you come about object so that you not be confused. Even though it's an array object. All right, if I change this to person, it will be the same thing. It's also coming out as an object. All right, so I just wanted you to see this before we move on. All right. So I've talked about numbers. I've talked about strings. Strings are natural language, series of characters. Okay, so I've talked about numbers. I've talked about what's it called? I've talked about Boolean types. Okay, we can also talk about notation. It's like a what's it called? It's JavaScript. It's like numbers. So say you want to do an extra large numbers that have multiple zeros, but you don't want to be writing the zeros like that. So you can do something like const let's see, I'm going to say big number equals I can do 1 to 4, and you can put here and 5. If I print out this one, if I print it out, you'll see what will come out. It added 50 to the back of 134. Okay. Likewise, if it is a point, if the 0 is supposed to be 0 point, like as in is on the left hand side, if you can put a minus here and it will subtract it for you, you will just move 5 decimal points from here. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'd be 0.00, 134. If I print this out, you see that is what it just did. I just wanted to say that. Now I'm quickly going to go to Boolean. Say I did something here by just strictly assigning something to a Boolean. Sum up equals true. Most of the time, you will not be doing this because if you already know that it's true, then what's the point? All right. But let me pause here and ask if anyone has questions so that we can quickly take that up and before we pile things up. Questions, guys? Ade, Shola.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you for the insightful section, Mr. Adewale. Yeah, at the point of your discussion, I could pick, you talked about the data type, which are the primitive, which represent the single data and that cannot be changed, such as numbers, Boolean, and string. But I didn't get the part of the one that is non-primitive, example of the non-primitive.
Oh, examples would be the array and objects that we just spoke about.
All right, thank you so much.
Sorry, did you ask another question? I didn't get you. I didn't.
Yeah, can you just shed more light on the difference between the let and the const? I think I didn't get that part very well too. Or do they serve the same purpose? I know the let and const, you said is a code block, and the other part is that the variable, which is quite allow you to reassign, and let is not allowing you to reassign. I didn't get those parts very well. Can you please shed more light on those?
Okay, so for let and const, the major difference between the two is just that once you declare a variable with a const, you cannot change the content anymore. All right, but for let, you can still change the content. And I made that example here. There's the reason why I commented this line out. So I'm going to uncomment it. If you see here, I declared a variable called my name and I put it as Olawale. Then that same my name, I now reassign it to be Victor. All right, so the equals to is the assignment sign, but that's what you use to assign things to a variable. So I reassign it as Victor. If I run this code as it is, I will get an error on this line because it will tell me that my name is a constant variable which I cannot assign anything to anymore. So I'm going to run it. And as you can see, that error comes up. And you can see that it's pointing to this assignment sign here that is equals to Victor. And the error type, the error message is that assignment to constant variable. So you can assign variables to constant variable. But if I did change this to a let and I run this, I will not get any error because I'm saying that it's something that we can reassign. So it reassigned it and moved on.
All right, thank you very much. I get it's clearer now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sec. All right, Oluwafemi, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Olawale. My question is that I normally use console on Chrome to write JavaScript. Can I as well continue with this, or on Cypress I need to stick to VS Code, or go to Chrome, or you are just using it to teach us? I just want to get that clarification.
Now, if you're writing an automation script, it is best to use an IDE, VS Code, Sublime, Atom, anyone that you're familiar with. All right. I do know that you can write things on console. In fact, you can take it a step further. I'm going to show you now. You can create a script on VS Code that you could be using to like a scratch pad. If you go to sources and then you go to snippet, you see this arrow in front of snippet. You can create your own snippet. I have created this one before, and this is a simple script that I've written. It's just an alert script. I can run it and it's going to generate an alert on the website for me. And this is me. You can see this is an alert, and this is what I wrote here. This is an alert. All right, so you can write script on your Chrome, but it's not advisable for you to use that if you are writing script for your Cypress, because Cypress has its own environment, right? And it's going to start up a browser for you. So if it starts up a browser for you, then the script will no longer be reachable. So it's better for you to start Cypress from the script itself, which should be something that is on your IDE. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah, thank you so much. If you don't mind, can you just help to do a little refresh on how to get to that particular environment that you start writing the code, please? Sorry.
You mean this here, this one here?
Yeah, that's sample.js.
Oh,
The way
okay.
you explain it, I didn't really get to that place.
It's not part of what we are doing here, but it's just that if you want to quickly test out some scripts, it's something that you can do here. You just inspect, you can right click and go to inspect, or press Ctrl Shift I. Then when you go here, click on sources and make sure you're on snippets. You can add your own script here. Give it a name and then you can start writing.
No, I get this. I normally, like I said before, I normally use Chrome to write my JavaScript. But what I'm saying is that, on VS Code, this particular page, I'm talking about this sample.js that how do you get to this environment? That's what I'm asking.
You just create a file. That's all. You can either right click here and go to new file, give it a name and put it as .js.
I see.
Put that .js and you can start writing from there.
Okay, yeah, I get that now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So where were we? All right. So I've explained const and lets. In the course of this training, I will touch var. We don't use it anymore, but I will just quickly demonstrate the difference between var and these two. Okay. And I've already explained this also for a const. You can't redeclare a variable there and cannot reassign it. All right. And I did say that it's block scoped. So when I'm explaining what block scope means, I would also be explaining the difference between var and const. All right. We talked about primitive data, string, number, Boolean. Okay. Null, undefined, big int. I did mention that big int is basically an integer. It's just that it's large. It's more than 32 bits. And yeah, you can see it as a big int. Okay. So I did mention something about objects, where we declare a person, objects, and then we put a first name, last name, and age inside a block. Now, when I say block of codes, most times in JavaScript, when you say block, it usually starts with the curly braces and end with the curly braces. So you can consider this object as a block of code. And I'll show you. You can consider it as a block of code. One sec. All right. But it's not really a block of code, really. I'll show you what a block of code means. Maybe a function or a class or something like that, where you can declare things and where you can do a lot of activities. We'll get there very soon. This is an object literal, a literal object. So, right. And then we talked about arrays. In our case, we declared an array of cars and then we inputted some data inside of it. The next one that I will be going for now, before I go to functions, is I'll quickly talk about some operators, so that when we are talking about what we are assigning things and we are putting operators here, you would know the reason or the meaning of those operators before I go here. So we've been using some of it. Like for instance, the equals to sign is an assignment operator. That's when you assign something to something. All right. There's also plus and addition. So you can do something like 3 plus 2. This plus here is acting as an operator, an addition operator. There is multiplication. I won't go further much into this so that I'm sure you already know this. Multiplication is asterisk, this star, sorry. Right. And then there is one other one that we call comparison operator. All right. This comparison operator, they are less than, greater than, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to. Okay. So I will demonstrate that because I want to use it to explain Boolean further, because I did say that you can't, most likely, if you already know that the variable is true, it won't be spectacular, right? Most times you want to check if a condition is true before you then go on and perform some actions. And for you to do that, you most likely be using a comparator to check if something is less than something or if something is greater than something like that. So, and that's what we're going to do right now. So let's say I want to console.log, okay? And I want to say, is 3 greater than, well, let's first do equals to, is equals to 3. Can someone answer me what this will be? This will resolve into? I'm checking if this 3 is equals to this 3. So it can either be true or false. Which will it be?
I think 3 is it's not an integer anyway.
It will be false because one is
3 is a number.
one is a string.
One is a number, one is a string. So yeah.
Yeah.
This will be false. But I will tell you where JavaScript becomes tricky. So if I run the file now, the last thing that we'll see here is true.
Wow.
So it should be, you look at it now, this is the number and this is a string. They are not the same. But JavaScript doesn't care. JavaScript doesn't care about that unless you had another equals to this. This triple equals to is what we call strict equality sign. So if I run this again now, then it will be false. All right. Remember that the first equals to, the one equals to is an assignment. So this is not going to fly. I can't assign these two things together without having a variable that has been declared before. But this double equals to, what it checks, it is like it checks the if it can compare the two together and can get a reasonable answer out of it. But if I had a third equals to, this third equals to checks the type. That is what it does. It checks the types of the two data and see if they are the same. Without it, it will only check the figure, how it looks like. Can I compare them? Right, so is that clear? I hope it's not confusing. So a single equals to now has 3 forms. You can have single equals to, which is an assignment when you want to assign something to something. Double equals to will check if it can compare the two together. If that is possible, then it returns a true. The triple equals to is strict equality sign. It checks the object and checks the type also, making sure that they are the same. All right. And then I can use comparative sign to say is 3 greater than 4. This will return to me, of course, false, because that is not true. 3 is not greater than 4. But if I say is 3 greater than or equals to 4, then this changes to true. Okay. Oh yeah, no, this is false. 3 is not equals to 4. Right, so that is not possible. You remember, is greater than or equals to. So if the greater than has been satisfied, then it won't check if it is equals to anymore. If it is equals to, then it won't check if it is greater than anymore. But the first thing I will check if it is greater than 4. So is 3 greater than 4? That's false. Then is 3 equals to 4? That's false. But if I do less than, okay, let's see what that brings out. In fact, I should be asking you. That's true, right? Because 3 is less than 4. Okay, so that's true. It is less. Those are comparative, yes. There are logical ones also. Okay, there are logical operators also, which is and, or, and not. Okay, and not doesn't stand alone, which is exclamation mark. What I'm simply saying is that 3 is not equals to 4. If you look at it, that seems right. But if I remove the equals to and replace it with yeah, and replace with an equals to, then the answer will change. Okay, so I think I've covered that to an extent. So we'll move on. Yeah, we'll move on. So I will jump into functions. I am speeding right now. You might not know it, but I am. So I'll check into functions. Functions are basically building blocks for all programming languages. They are reusable code blocks. They are designed to perform a specific task, all right? And they are executed only when they are invoked or called. So you can declare a function and your code executor will not even check it at all. It will just know that there's a function called its also name, and it will host it, more like when you are hosting a gun. It will just host it and put it there like that. Until you call that function, it will not run. So you can begin to see how useful they can be. Now, especially if you are writing Cypress code and there's a particular task that you need to do repeatedly. Maybe you need to log in first before you perform a test, and maybe you have like 10 tests that you want to perform. And before each of those tests, you need to log in. It won't be nice for you to write the login script and repeat it inside each of those 10 scripts. It will be nice if you can write it in one place and then invoke it 10 times. So that way you write it once and then call it to perform that task for you each time that you want to perform it. Okay, so I'll show you the old way, which is still people still use it, and the one that comes after ES6 as for the way to be writing functions, to be declaring functions. Now, if I say for the old ways, I can write the keyword function like this. All right. And then I'll write the name. Let's say it's a multiplication something. Multiplication like this. And then it will have a bracket like so. And then next you will have a curly braces. And then you can drop it down and write whatever you want to write inside here. So the function is for multiplication. Say we want to multiply two things. So let's log it out. And then I'll say, I'll just write a string here. I'll call it multiplication function. All right. If I run this code as it is, nothing will happen. In fact, it will not print out what we have here. And I'll show you now. Like I was saying before, it will just know that that function exists. The last thing we have here is true, which is on line 30. This doesn't get called. It doesn't get executed. If you want to execute it, you have to call it. And the way to call it is that you will write the name of the function, which is multiplication. Okay. And then you put parentheses in front of it. So multiplication, parentheses like this. So now I have called it. And then you will see this logged out. Multiplication functions logged out. So let me clear and then run this again. And then you see it got called. So this is it. That is the structure of a function, how you call it. Now, for me to write it in a, there's a two format, like I said, there are two formats that you can use to write this. I just want to tell you the other one in case you come across it in maybe some code base or something, so that you'll not be confused. If you want to write it according to ES6, that is the ECMA 6 to 15. You declare a constant, and then the name of the function, addition. There should be equals to here. Oh, wow. Even me, I've forgotten. Who's going to help me?
Const number.
Right, so the equals is going to be here, sorry. So const addition equals to this, then you have an arrow function. So that's the reason why they call this kind of function arrow function, because you put an arrow here. All right, so inside here you can, okay, we'll talk about that. And of course you can console the log here also. And then you have addition function. So, and I can also call it addition like this, and then call it like that. And if I run this again, you will now see that addition function is now at the bottom here. So these two are basically the same thing. The first one is how we write functions before year 6. And after year 6, you can still write it like this. Nobody will stop you. It will still work the way it's supposed to. All right. And then you can write an arrow function like this also. Same thing. All right. So that is out. Now, I am going to add a little bit of context into functions, because as you can see, if this is all we are going to do, it really doesn't make a lot of difference, right? But let me show you what we can do. What we can do is that for this multiplication, say we have two numbers that we have to multiply, and those numbers are not constant. It depends on what we see on the screen. Say for instance, now we are automating an e-commerce website, all right? And then after you have done your checkout, during checkout, you want to see if the number of items is the same as the price. Let me explain. You have picked a shoe. That shoe is 2,000 naira. But on the count, how many shoes that you want to buy, you have picked 4. You already pick during your automation on the screen that the amount for that shoe is 2,000 naira. But you want to confirm that the backend or whoever is doing the calculation for the shoe, when they pick maybe 4 items of that shoe, is 8,000 naira. You don't want to rely on what you see on the screen. You want to do your own calculation. So in that case, you have your first value that you want to multiply, 2,000 naira. The second one is the count of that object. In this case, let's say 4. And you want to write a function for it to multiply those things. So you are getting the values from the screen, which might not be the same thing all the time. It can be 2,000 today. But what if the e-commerce website decides to reduce the price to 1,000 naira or is now 24,000 naira? You don't want to go ahead and be changing your script every time that the price of an item on the screen changes. So what you can do is write a function like this that will accept the value of that shoe, then the value, the count, the amount of shoes that the person is buying, let's say 4, and then multiply it together, then output the corresponding multiplication. Once it does that, you can then compare it to what you have on the screen at checkout to make sure that the program is working as it should. So in this case, that is where arguments come into functions. So arguments can be inside this bracket, the things that you want to multiply. For the time being that the time that you are declaring this function, you don't know what it is. So you can represent it with a number or whatever it is. You can represent it with 2 things. Let's say number A. Let me just put A here, and then you separate it by comma, and then you put B here. Okay. So inside here now, you can do concatenation just for the sake of this lecture. I'm going to do concatenation. I've already explained it to you earlier, and I can say the result is, and then inside here, put a plus, and then you can do A multiply by B. Okay. In this, at this time, you don't know what A and B will be. All right. But when you are calling the method, it's possible for you to now know what it will be. And then you can then put them here. Let's say we want to multiply 3 and 8. Okay. So if I run this now, this is going to log 24 for me. Yeah, you see, the result is 24. So you can see how useful these functions can be. Likewise, I can add 2 things here. Oh, sorry. I can add 2 things here. I can also represent it by number A and B. And then inside here, I can then add it together. A plus B. Can anybody tell me what the matter is? Why do I have NaN here?
Because
I have
you've
to
not
declare the
you've
addition.
not, yeah, you have to declare that on the addition line on line 41.
Okay, it's there, but I did not put the number that I want to add.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, you
not
did
a
put the
number. So I can do 6 and 9, for instance. So now I should get 15. Okay, so that is functions. All right, so let me go back to our slide. Any questions? No questions. Okay, let's move on to
Sorry,
itself.
I have a question. I have a question before you move on.
Go on.
I'm trying to run the script on Vcode now. So I press node sample JS the way you put it, and I can't get. It's not running for me. I don't know why.
If you can see your sample.js on this side, right click on it. Okay. Then copy relative path. Then instead of that sample.js that you put there, just paste it there. So you have load, then paste.
Oh, I see.
So the reason why I say that is that it might be possible that your own sample.js is inside another folder. If you cannot find it, you will not be able to run it.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I'm checking it out now. Yeah.